Okay, guys. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite techniques out there, and I've been using this for years. And I used to use it when I was a salesman on buyers, so you can also use it for your buyers. But lately, we've been using it a lot for sellers, and it's what's called the takeaway close. Now, what is the takeaway close? It's essentially just a statement or a situation where you're taking the deal off the table for whoever's selling you the property. And the idea behind it is there's a mentality that people want what they can't have. So you're gonna go in there and you're gonna take the deal off the table, and they're gonna be like, well, what can you give me? So even if you give them a little bit, they still feel like they're getting something because it wasn't even there in the first place. That's basically what a takeaway close is. You're just taking it away from somebody, and they want it more. So now you're in power. That's the reason why it's so powerful, is because it's a mentality thing. I don't know why people are like that, but there's a way to properly execute that. And if you're talking to your sellers, sometimes they're asking way too much. For whatever reason, they aren't really serious about selling. They just want to see what you say. They don't know the market. They don't really know whether or not it's worth, so they just throw out a number. And a lot of the times, I'll use the takeaway close either in the middle of negotiations. I won't use it at the very beginning, either in the middle of negotiations or at the end of negotiations. But it's really most powerful in the middle. What I'll do is I'll call them up before I've even seen the house. Our first conversation will be, the condition of the property, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then the second, third, and fourth conversations are typically negotiations to see if you should even go see the house. But before that, I like to call them up and do the takeaway close. And it goes something like, hey, Mr. Mrs. Seller, I just wanted to reach out to you, and I just want to let you know that based on our conversation, based on, what I think the condition of the property is, and based on what you're asking, and based on where I need to be, this isn't something that I think I can do. It just seems like we're a little far off. On price. And then you stay quiet. 97% of the time, they're going to say, well, what price do you need to be at? At that point, you've kind of got the power, because you can go out there and say whatever price you need to be at. So let's say they're asking 65 and you need to be at 50, right? So you go out there and you say, hey, you know what? I need to be low 40s, high 40s, low 50s, somewhere around there. If they say, well, I'm asking 65, that's going to be way too low. You can throw out the whole, well, what's the least you take for this? Well, I won't take any less than 60. Now you're negotiating. Now you're back and forth. Now you go back and you say, hey, well, you know what? Let me rerun my numbers. Let me see if that's something I can do, or open up other options like, hey, would you be willing to owner finance? Things like that. At that point, you're negotiating. You've opened up a conversation. Sometimes they'll just say, oh, okay, thanks for calling. And then you just kind of put them on a follow-up, or you can just throw it out there. Oh, okay, thanks for calling. Yeah, I know you said you were asking 65, but I really need to be in the 50s, low 50s, high 40s. Oh, you know what? I might actually think I might be able to work with that, or whatever it is they come back with, then you just adjust accordingly. If they say, no, that's going to be way too low, don't ever call me again. Of course, you're going to call them again, but in a month. They say, well, I could work with somewhere in the high 50s if you can do that. Then you go back. Now you're in negotiating range. Now you can go see the property and assess the rehab. And that's been one of my favorite things to do, because people just want to hear what you have to say. You say, hey, I can't do this. You're asking way too much. They're interested in knowing where you're getting your numbers from. Most of the time, people want that, and it's a mentality thing. So takeaway close is one of my favorite techniques, and it's something that you should be implementing in almost every negotiation.